Something has been shifting in your life, and you can't go back to the way things felt before. It's subtle, almost quiet, but it keeps pressing on your spirit in a way that refuses to be ignored. You've tried to explain it logically, tried to brush it off as stress or coincidence, but deep down you know this is different. There are moments now where everything around you feels slightly out of place. Conversations don't carry the same weight. Certain people don't feel as close as they used to. Even the things that once excited you now seem strangely empty. And in the middle of all that, there's this unexplainable awareness rising inside you, like you're being pulled towards something you cannot yet fully see. You didn't learn this from someone else. No one had to tell you. You noticed it on your own. And that matters more than you think. Because throughout the Bible, God doesn't just move suddenly without warning. He prepares. He signals. He stirs the hearts of those who are willing to pay attention. Before the rain fell, there was a warning. Before the calling was revealed, there was a stirring. Before the breakthrough came, there was always a moment where something felt different, where the ordinary began to lose its hold and the unseen started to feel more real than what was right in front of them. That's where you are right now. This is the space where things don't fully make sense yet, but they are no longer the same. It's the tension between what was and what is about to be, and it can feel uncomfortable, even unsettling, because you're no longer grounded in the familiar, but you haven't fully stepped into the new. But this is not confusion without purpose. This is preparation. God is not trying to confuse you. He is awakening you. Every shift you've felt, every sign you've noticed, every moment where something didn't sit right anymore. It is all part of a process that is moving you into alignment with something greater than you expected. And here is what you need to understand right now. This feeling you can't shake is not meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. Because when your spirit starts recognizing what your eyes cannot yet see, it means something has already begun behind the scenes. You're not at the end of something. You're at the edge of a beginning. Number one, the separation that didn't make sense. One of the first things you start to notice when something is about to begin is separation. Not the kind you planned, not the kind you asked for. It just happens. People you used to talk to every day slowly become distant. The connection isn't the same anymore. Conversations feel forced, like something invisible has shifted between you. And no matter how much you try to hold things together, it feels like they're slipping away anyway. At first, it hurts more than you expected, because you didn't see it coming. You start asking yourself questions you can't answer. Why is this happening now? Did I do something wrong? Why do I feel so alone all of a sudden? But what if this isn't rejection? What if this is God removing what no longer fits where He's taking you? In the Bible, before God elevates someone, He often separates them first. Joseph didn't rise to power while staying comfortable with his brothers. He was separated before his purpose was revealed. David wasn't discovered in a crowd. He was alone in the fields before he was called to be king. Even Jesus stepped away from the crowd before stepping into his ministry. Separation is not a punishment. It is positioning, because God knows something you don't fully see yet. If certain people, habits, or environments stay in your life, they will conflict with what He is about to start in you. Not everyone is meant to walk into your next season. Some people were only meant for a chapter, not the whole story. And if they stayed, they would slow down, confuse, or even disrupt what God is preparing. So instead of chasing what is leaving, pay attention to what is happening. God is creating space. Space for clarity, space for growth, space for something new to take root without interference. And yes, it feels lonely, but that loneliness has a purpose, because there are things God can only build in you when there is no one else around to influence your direction. This is where your identity begins to shift. This is where your dependence moves from people to God. And even though it feels like you're losing something, you are actually being aligned with something greater. Number two, the silence that felt uncomfortable. After separation comes something even harder to understand. Silence. Everything gets quiet, not just around you, but within you too. Prayers don't feel as powerful as they used to. You speak, but it feels like there's no immediate response. You look for signs, for direction, for confirmation, but instead you're met with stillness, and that stillness can feel unsettling because you're used to movement, you're used to feeling something, you're used to knowing what's next. But now, it feels like you're in between, and the question starts to rise in your mind. God, where are you? But here's what you need to understand. God is not absent in your silence. He is working in it. Some of the most powerful moments in the Bible happened after seasons of silence. Before Jesus began his ministry, he went into the wilderness. No audience, no applause, just silence. Between major moves of God, there were long stretches where nothing seemed to happen, until suddenly, everything changed. Silence is not emptiness. It is preparation without distraction. Because when everything is loud, it's easy to rely on what you hear. But when it's quiet, you're forced to rely on who God is. This is where your faith becomes real, not based on feelings, not based on immediate answers, but based on trust. Trust that even when you don't see movement, something is still being built, and often what God is building in silence is stronger than anything that happens in the open. He is strengthening your patience. He is sharpening your discernment. He is teaching you how to stay steady, even when nothing around you is giving you confirmation. So if you've been in a season where everything feels quiet, don't rush to escape it. Don't assume something is wrong, because the silence you're experiencing right now is not the absence of God. It's the evidence that He is doing something deeper than you expected. And when that silence breaks, you'll realize it was never empty. It was full of preparation for what's about to begin. Number 3, the pressure you can't explain. Then comes something that feels even heavier. Pressure, not the kind people can easily see. It's internal. It shows up when you're trying to rest, but your mind won't slow down. It follows you into quiet moments, into your thoughts, into your decisions. It feels like something is pushing you forward, but at the same time, you don't fully understand where you're being pushed to. You feel stretched, uncomfortable, restless in a way that doesn't go away. And the natural reaction is to think something is wrong. But what if this pressure is not here to break you, but to shape you? In the Bible, before anything grows, it is first pressed. A seed is buried under pressure before it ever breaks through the ground. Grapes are crushed before they become wine. Jesus himself endured unimaginable pressure before the resurrection came. Pressure is not the end of something. It is the transformation of something. Because what God is about to place in your life requires a stronger version of you. And strength is not built in comfort. It is built in resistance. That's why you feel like you can't stay where you are anymore. The things that once felt safe now feel limiting. The routines that once worked now feel empty. It's like your spirit is outgrowing your current life. That's not confusion. That's expansion. God is stretching your capacity so you can carry what's coming next. And stretching is never comfortable. It requires letting go. It requires trusting. It requires moving forward without having every answer. So if you've been feeling this pressure building inside of you, don't try to run from it. Lean into it, because the pressure you're feeling right now is directly connected to the purpose you're about to step into. Number 4. The shift in your desires. Along with the pressure, something else begins to change. Your desires, things that once had your full attention, don't feel the same anymore. What used to excite you now feels temporary. What you used to chase now feels empty. And you can't force yourself to care the way you used to, no matter how hard you try. At the same time, something new starts growing inside of you. A deeper hunger, not for surface-level things, but for meaning. You start wanting more clarity, more purpose, more truth, more connection with God. And this shift can feel confusing at first, because it feels like you're losing interest in the life you built before you fully understand the life you're being led into. But this is not loss. This is alignment. The Bible says that God will give you new desires, not just fulfill old ones. Because if your desires stayed the same, you would not be able to walk into what He has prepared for you. You would hold on to things that no longer fit. You would chase distractions instead of purpose. So before God brings something new into your life, He changes what you want. He rewires your heart. He shifts your focus from temporary satisfaction to eternal direction. That's why you feel different now. You don't think the same. You don't react the same. You don't pursue the same things anymore. And even though you can't fully explain it, you know it's real. This is how you know something is about to begin, because God doesn't just prepare your circumstances, He prepares you. And when your desires begin to match His direction, that's when everything starts to align. Number 5. The attack that came out of nowhere. Right when things start shifting, resistance shows up. Not gradually, not predictably, but suddenly. Situations that were stable begin to shake. Problems appear where there were none before. Small issues turn into heavy burdens. And it feels like everything is happening at once, as if something is pushing back against you. You find yourself thinking, why now? Why all at the same time? Why does it feel harder the moment I started changing? This is where many people misunderstand what's happening. They assume the pressure means they're going in the wrong direction. But in the Bible, the opposite is often true. When something significant is about to begin, opposition increases. When Moses was called, Pharaoh resisted. When Jesus stepped into His purpose, He was tempted in the wilderness. When the disciples began their mission, they faced persecution. The pattern is clear. The closer you get to what God is starting in your life, the more resistance you may feel. But this resistance is not proof of failure. It is confirmation of significance, because the enemy does not waste effort on something that has no impact. If nothing meaningful was ahead of you, there would be no reason to try to stop you. So if you've been facing unexpected attacks, emotionally, mentally, even spiritually, don't let it shake your direction. Recognize what it is. This is an attempt to distract you, to discourage you, to make you question what you already felt was real. Because if the enemy can get you to doubt now, you might walk away before you ever step into what God prepared. But here's what you need to hold on to. What God has set in motion cannot be undone by opposition. No attack can cancel what He has already planned. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is ahead of me that requires this level of resistance? Because the intensity of the attack is revealing the importance of what's about to begin. Number 6. The unexpected open door. After the pressure, after the silence, after the resistance, something shifts, and suddenly, a door appears. Not something you forced, not something you manipulated, but something that aligns in a way you couldn't have created on your own. An opportunity comes out of nowhere. A connection happens at the right time. A path becomes clear that you didn't see before. And for the first time in a while, things begin to make sense. This is how God moves. He doesn't always explain everything in advance, but when the time comes, He opens what needs to be opened. The Bible says that when God opens a door, no one can shut it. That means what is meant for you will not be blocked by people, by timing, or by circumstances. It will come, and when it does, there is something different about it. It doesn't carry the same confusion. It carries peace, not because everything is easy, but because deep down you know this is right. That's how you recognize it, not by how perfect it looks, but by the clarity it brings to your spirit. So when this door opens in your life, don't hesitate. Don't overanalyze it until you talk yourself out of it. And don't let fear convince you to stay where you are just because it's familiar. Because you didn't go through separation, silence, pressure, and resistance just to stay in the same place. You went through all of that to be ready for this moment, to step forward, to walk into what God has already prepared ahead of you. And when you take that step, you'll realize something powerful. The door didn't just appear randomly. It was always part of the plan. You just had to become ready to walk through it. Number 7. The inner knowing you can't ignore. After everything you've been through, the separation, the silence, the pressure, the resistance, and even the unexpected door, there is something that settles deep inside you. A knowing, not loud, not dramatic, but steady. It doesn't come from logic. You can't fully explain it to someone else. If you tried to put it into words, it might not even make sense. But within you, it feels undeniable. You just know something is different. You just know you're not the same person anymore. You just know that whatever is ahead of you is real, and this knowing doesn't disappear, even when doubt tries to speak, even when fear tries to rise, even when circumstances don't fully match what you feel yet. It stays. This is how God often speaks, not always through visible signs or audible voices, but through a deep, quiet certainty placed inside your spirit. The Bible describes it as peace that surpasses understanding, a peace that doesn't rely on external confirmation, a peace that remains even when everything around you is still uncertain. That's what you're feeling, and it matters, because this inner knowing is not something you created. It was placed there. It's the Holy Spirit guiding you, confirming what God has already begun. That's why you can't ignore it. That's why it keeps coming back. That's why, no matter how much you try to question it, it doesn't fully go away, because it's not meant to. It's meant to lead you. So if you feel that quiet certainty inside you right now, don't push it aside. Don't let doubt silence it, and don't wait for perfect clarity before you trust it. Because that knowing is your confirmation that everything you've been sensing is real. You noticed the signs because you were meant to follow where they lead. Conclusion: now you understand. Everything you've been feeling wasn't random. Every shift, every moment of confusion, every uncomfortable change, it all had a purpose. The separation wasn't a loss. The silence wasn't abandonment. The pressure wasn't meant to break you. The attacks weren't there to stop you. The shifting desires weren't confusion, and the open door wasn't coincidence. It was all preparation. You didn't just go through a difficult season. You were being aligned with something greater than what you could see at the time. And now, standing where you are, you're no longer the same person who started this journey. You've grown. You've changed. You've been stretched in ways that forced you to rely on God more than ever before. And that's exactly why you're ready. Ready to step forward. Ready to trust deeper. Ready to walk into something new, even if you don't see every detail yet. Because this is the moment many people miss. They feel the signs, but they hesitate. They sense the shift, but they stay where it's comfortable. They recognize something is changing, but fear convinces them not to move. Don't let that be your story. You didn't come this far to turn back now. You didn't go through all of this just to stay in the same place. You noticed the signs for a reason, because God was preparing you, not just to see them, but to respond to them. So take the step, even if it feels uncertain, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it feels bigger than what you thought you could handle. Because what is about to begin in your life is not something you have to force. It's something you were prepared for. Trust God, move forward, and step into what He has already set in motion. Because this isn't just another moment in your life. This is the beginning.